Hello and welcome to episode 26 of the Belair podcast. If you're interested in business, how to build a business or a successful company, marketing, mindset, or anything along those lines, you're going to love today's episode. Today's guest is the CEO and co-founder of Real Social Dynamics. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's got two of his own amazing shows on YouTube. He's traveled to over 110 different countries, I think way more than that. And he's a master of mindset and so much more. Welcome to the show, Nick Coe.
Awesome. Thanks, bro.
What's up, man?
Well, I'm here in Las Vegas. Actually, it's just nice to finally take a break because right upstairs we have a team of people that are helping us build a new business line of our company. So we built the world's largest dating coaching company, and right now I'm trying to build not just the company itself, but also a new business line where we're teaching business education. We're teaching how we build our company to other people, and also going into companies and going in field and being wingmen, not just in terms of what we usually do. I mean, our company was built on programs called boot camps where you charge $2,000 and wingmen go out and pick up girls. And we're doing the same thing now, but for businesses, where you have me and other people like my business partner going into companies and being a wingman for sales. We're doing it for undercover tinkering in terms of marketing, but it's been a lot of fun. And then it's been a chance for me to also build my YouTube channel to reconnect with my friends, because in order to build our company, we had to build a mastermind group. And over the last 5 to 6 years before I moved to Las Vegas a couple of years ago, I spent well over $1 million just spending money going to mastermind groups of business owners and entrepreneurs. And they formed a board of advisors. And one of them was Tony Hsieh from Zappos. And he convinced me to get more involved with the downtown Vegas opportunities and also move to Las Vegas. So my company is now based in Las Vegas, and it's been a lot of fun out here. I'm having a great time. It's probably the most fun place I've lived, and it's just enough entertainment, so I don't want to travel as much. I just want to focus more on hustling. It's been really cool.
Nice, man. Well, I just did about 2 months in Vegas working on a project for Delphi Village, which is this super wild. It's kind of like a permanent Burning Man, sustainable village type of idea. So I got some time in Vegas and it's a hub of just business and entrepreneurship and all kinds of stuff. And
yeah, Drew told me about Delphi Village because I've been to Burning Man as well, and I know that Tony's way big into it. He actually has, even though he is a billionaire, he lives in the trailer park where he wanted to recreate that Burning Man artistic expression, that expression, experience, the community. He loves the concept of returns on community more than returns on investment. And so what he did is he took 30 of those Airstreams that you might see at Burning Man, put them into a trailer park in the downtown Vegas, and he has regular parties there every month where people just go down there, and it's kind of like a Burning Man experience, but there's something going on there every day, all year round. And people just put their name in a fishbowl and go on stage, and you can perform music. I mean, I haven't performed music for a very long time. I used to play the violin, guitar. I mean, I'm an Asian guy, so that was like the things that my family's really wanted me to do: piano, guitar, violin. But now I'm trying to also learn how to rap. I have a hip hop coach. I have a vocal coach named Roger Love who trained Eminem. I have Matt Stefanita to help me with dance moves. I have Drew Morrissey from the How to Rap YouTube channel teaching me how to build beats and rhymes. And I got a really awesome beat maker. He's kind of like Timberland, but he owns his own company called Brewhouse Music. But it's been a lot of fun because I want to create music as a form of education. I wanted to use this chance to make music videos that actually involved education or business, entrepreneurship, how to build a company. Because there's so many people out there teaching education on business, but there needs to be some kind of infotainment in this day and age. With the power of social media, everyone's doing something fun. So I've been doing 360 videos. You go to our live events, we do crowd surfing. We're always trying to upgrade the entertainment value of things. And so much of what we do is we might be teaching people, for example, on dating coaching, but we'll be doing it at a crazy party at the Playboy Mansion or at the Emmys, or maybe just over drinks and beer. And it's kind of weird to think that you'd be educating someone while doing any of these things. But we're doing that because it's a way to captivate interests. If we look at today's entertainment world and you see guys like Trump, who's all over social media, he was able to defy the mainstream media just because he was entertaining people as opposed to just talking about his platform. But it worked for him, regardless of whether you like him or not. But I
Yeah.
mean, for us, I believe that social media is the way to go. And that's how we build our company. It allows for us to build a company that is remote. We do business in over 270 cities and 70 countries, over 1,000 events live in person, face to face every year, seminars, boot camps, workshops, coachings. And we also have all sorts of membership sites and video sites. And most of our company is managed by teams around the world, building systems, going on tour like Motley Crue, creating videos from different cities, different locations, different backgrounds. And that also keeps people engaged. I really wish that we were really into this video technology when I was on tour, because I haven't been on tour in 8 years. Now I'm just running the business operations. I'm a married guy, and I'm focusing on just growing the company. But I want to get back into things in terms of being a public face out there, because there's so many cool opportunities now for us to expand into these other niches, not just in dating relationships. And so that's where my new passion is, trying to build this new business line, build the teams and get things going to the next level. But I'd love to also find out more about like what you're doing, and how I could help you out, and also what's most interesting to you and to the listeners of your channel, because I got into the idea of doing more interviews because I wanted to have a chance where I could learn what people want me to talk about, because I have a ton of education. I did 2 MBA programs. I'm now doing a master's of legal studies at Harvard. I traveled around the world doing masterminds, meeting people from all sorts of worlds of business. And I have a lot of ideas to share, but I want to find out what's truly interesting to people and what people are interested, and really just go out there and just share what I know about it. And also bring in the people that I know who are really masters of particular topics that can help mastermind and mentor me, because the first step in getting success is to get the right mentors, and then let them share that knowledge as well. And it's been really fun to reconnect with a lot of my friends who have a lot of those skill sets. And that's why I love the idea of doing interviews. I mean, it allows for us to reconnect, or us to connect for getting to know each other on a very deep level. I mean, if you hang out with friends and you're just chilling, you hang out over beers and have a lot of fun, but this is like a chance to really intellectually connect and actually focus on something that is not just valuable to you, but valuable to the thousands of people that are watching this video now. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I love all that. It's interesting because we had maybe 40 minutes on the phone before this just to kind of connect, because a mutual friend in Las Vegas connected us, Drew from Tuya, which is another amazing branding company. And you've worked with a lot of amazing people and have, just success, and you're around it. And one of the models as you're using is coaching, you know what I mean? And mentorship. And just for the people out there, because I know a lot of my audience is women, and I have a girlfriend and you're married, but what's hard for my girlfriend to understand at the time when I was learning stuff, I read the book, The Game, and you're part of the person that helped create that whole thing. But what a lot of people don't understand is that that's all mindset. Like for me, I was terrified of women. I still am. You know what I mean? I have a girlfriend, thank God. But like she doesn't believe me when I'm like, it is terrifying for me to go say hello to any woman that I do not know. And so when you go through and, the first successful business you did, people might not see that as like, oh, that's not important. It's super important for men. And it's really helpful for me because, you don't have like, it instills confidence. It just teaches you about self-development. So I think it's a really important thing to put out there that you've done. So I just want to kind of caveat like how important that is for a lot of people, just to understand that, a lot of pickup and persuasion is more about self-development. It's more about mindset. It's more about being able to get a girl, because you're not going to get a girl if you're not confident, if you're not full of just, who you are, right? If you're scared and timid and you can't even go say hi, well, you're never going to find your wife. You know what I mean? And I think that, from that perspective, it's a really beautiful and meaningful thing. And so you absolutely crushed that business in your own way. And then you've just crushed all these other businesses. So you have a lot to offer. And the way that you're using that model now and trying to help and get out there and see, like someone like me, yeah, with my business, what I'm trying to do, like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, I've just tried so hard with what I know. And that's why you've got the 2 MBAs and you've got all this experience. So, if you want to come and talk to me about snowboarding or about sports psychology and being a better athlete, I got your back. You know what I mean? I spent a long time mastering that, and you spent a long time in business. So, I just love the way that your new model and what you're doing and moving forward with.
I'm focusing a lot on the mastery of golf, actually. I'm trying to track 10,000 hours of progress towards that, as Malcolm Gladwell was believing that 10,000 hours is how much it takes to master pretty much any sport. So I created a golf blog called cokingdomgolf.com where I'm tracking my hours. And I'm meeting people who are really interested in helping me with even my hobbies. So one of the people I met was Dan McLaughlin from thedanplan.com. And he was the person who I first saw doing the exact same thing, tracking all his hours in golf and mastery, and the idea of consistency and learning and how to master a skill set through focusing on certain things at certain paces. And I thought it was really cool to see that and track his blog and his progress. So I invited him to meet me, play golf with me. And it's amazing because so many people you just reach out to that would just love to help you just because people like helping other people. I think, conscious wealth building and conscious, value giving is like the new trending concept of our time. So, I mean, ever since I was a kid, I used to just go out to the Yale pages and I wanted to learn more about, say, an inventor or a corporate attorney. I would contact them and reach out to them and invite them to have lunch with me just because I said, hey, I'd love to treat you out to lunch, just learn from you. And then I think that has been like a mindset I've had since I was a kid up until now, where I will reach out to people who I believe are doing really awesome things. I want to learn from them, I want to connect with them, and I want to be able to offer values to their life. And I could contribute that in terms of like you're contributing to people's lives through sharing ideas in terms of sports, athleticism, and the process of growing through mastery and self-development. And I contribute to a lot of people's lives through the fact that through my industry, my background, I have a massive Rolodex of people that can connect people through gatherings that are really fun. So I organize all the time mastermind groups. I organize parties. Every 6 months I have at our LA house $1 million party that's co-hosted by Mike from Big Mike. He's the CEO of a massive company that does $70 million a year in sales of marijuana fertilizer. And I also will have all sorts of crazy small masterminds at my house, like 30 people, 40 people, like every month, business owners, local, interesting people, just fun people and good people to hang out with. But it's kind of cool because connecting all sorts of people, synergies happen. It's what Tony Hsieh will call return on collisions. Collisions being defined as those random ideas of inspiration that happen when you get people to work together. And that's why I'm taking so much more of our company that was typically remote. So, I mean, so much of our company was built based upon having a massive amount of interns. And then after those interns work for us for at least 3 months, they might have learned a lot of skills and become someone that we could afford to hire on payroll because the work they've generated has generated additional revenue. And we built that and we scaled it to the point where we have 100 of these people now getting paid. And then it grew doing that while simultaneously have like 1,000 volunteers and a couple hundred interns that'll dedicate time helping us manage Facebook groups online, helping us on the weekends at live events. And also some of them will even move to Las Vegas. Like I have some of them upstairs learning how to close sales, how to do customer service, how to build relationships within our customer base among our top tier clients so we can improve the quality of our programs. And it's been really fun because most of my experience wasn't just something that was natural. I mean, I used to volunteer all the time ever since I was a kid, just the concept of value giving. I mean, one of the things that you always say to people is that you're always trying to find ways to help other people out, regardless of whether you know anything or not. And I remember when I was first a kid, I was 16 years old. And I remember reading a book about how somebody was saying that in order to do any job whatsoever, a lot of what you do is routine, mundane, whether it's doing the copying on the copy machine or getting people coffee or water. But still at the same time, by surrounding yourself by people who are leaders of influence, you'll learn things about them. So what I would do is I would volunteer and contact the governor's office and say, hey, I'm a 16-year-old kid. I want to volunteer for you. And I've read all sorts of books about computer science. I could help you in IT. I could help you with your errands. I could help you with pretty much any mundane task. And they gave me a job. And then from there, it got me into the process of interning for a senator. And I learned about legal writing. And now I had another skill set. And I used that skill set to get a job to learn more about law. So I wanted to learn about corporate law. So I started writing letters for them. And then I got a license for being a stockbroker. So I used that, said, hey, and now I have some experience in legal writing and working in legislation, but now I have a license as a stockbroker. I'd love to work on Wall Street. And then I got hired by the Mitchell Hudson's Group for Payne Weber in New York and doing institutional investing. And then from there, I learned about finance and corporate finance and how to grow my company. And then as a result, I used some of those skills and coordination skills, basically build my own company. And I did many, many, many other jobs as well, from HP to NASA to whatever, before I created my own company. Even working with the Air Force for 4 years and the Air Force Reserve Officer Training Corps, and all these little jobs that have apparently no relation to the obvious person allowed me to gain a lot of skills to become a business person. Now, growing up, I heard a lot from my father who said, don't be the jack of all trades and the master of none. But I would master certain skill sets. I would master all of the things I was learning, but I would master a lot of different skill sets. So I got really good at organizing and coordinating, especially from throwing parties. I mean, when I was in LA, our parties were epic. I was on the advisory board of this group called Exini, where we had people paying $1,000 to $25,000 a month throwing these amazing parties, because I've been involved with throwing parties since I was very young, and I volunteered my time, and I got a lot of people who knew the president and CEO of the company to basically just contact them and say, hey, there's this guy named Nick, he wants to volunteer his time to help you. Until he basically reached out to me and I started getting involved with this. And it led to so many deep relationships. It led to me having people that referred me eventually to my social media manager, and someone who's really blowing it up on epic proportion to some of the most powerful people on the planet. And also it led to me developing deep relationships with people. And it's just me reaching out to people and volunteering my time. Now, our company today, even though we're a global company, is still dependent so much on volunteer labor that if we didn't have it, we'd be out of business. And many companies are like that. If you look at political campaigns, for example, you wouldn't have anyone elected to president if they didn't have a massive army of people promoting them for free. There's not enough money out there. But when people care about your cause, now, and for us, people really love us because we're teaching them not just dating advice, but the process of self-actualization and identity level change. And the dating advice is in addition to that. So in the same way that you could do business in different cultures and different areas, and there's like a cultural difference, the same core of developing a business, the networking, the process of relationships and the success mindsets and how to build rapport, all that's the same. So much of what we teach in terms of dating advice has been applied to networking and business and growth. And as a result, a third of our audience, when we interview them, come to us solely for dating advice. My business partner is the main curriculum grower. He has a channel called RSD Tyler, RSD for Real Social Dynamics, and Tyler is his nickname. And he has videos almost all the time on his RSD Tyler channel. He has a RSD Free Tour channel. We have 16 other channels that have a combined force of about 1 million subscribers. And we try to entertain them because every single month we have 16,000 hours of viewed video on this channel, on these series of channels on YouTube among my different instructors. So we're always pumping out new videos. So one of the things we were talking about earlier was about video quality. So in terms of marketing, we spend very little money, maybe a few $100s every single month or less on marketing. I know our marketing budget's so small, it's not even talked about. Most of the people, including my CMO, don't even talk about the numbers in terms of marketing. It's so much like petty cash, like how much you would spend going to like some nice meals, because most of it's for us just developing high quality content and word of mouth marketing. But in order to convey that message, we spend tons of money, on average $10,000 a week on massive amounts of AV gear and video teams and video editors and cameras to get high quality content out there to educate and entertain people. At first we didn't do this, we just did it on the phone. Then we got it onto a pocket camera. But now the content is such a main source of our business, as opposed to in the past when it was email marketing, or in the past it was discussion boards before that, or even before that, it was just trying to get people's phone numbers and then calling them on the phone and doing it totally old school over trying to tell people about your businesses over lunch. We've done all this, and it's been a really interesting progression, but all the old stuff that we've learned in the past still work today. But at the same time, if you really want to hit scale, a lot of the focus that we're focusing now is on social media. I consider YouTube social media. My business partner is really big on Instagram. And I'm just starting off getting back into things. So I've recreated and rebranded myself on Instagram, Twitter, etc. But I believe that the following of establishing your personal brand is going to be so much more important, because I believe that the future in terms of business is about everyone's job being about relationship building and communication. Whether you're a carpenter, a computer science, or an engineer, a lot of it is going to be about building synergies in business, because technology is going so fast that you'll be able to connect everyone just from finding the sticky relationships where you get to have people get to know you really, really fast and make it feel like they know you really, really fast. Just like in terms of like meeting someone for socially, where you're trying to meet a girl at a bar, you have to get to know them really fast, convey the coolest aspects of yourself really fast. And the same thing will go into the business world. And as a result, so much of what we do is going undercover and doing a lot of this stuff. And I think a lot of the other interesting thing about it is that so many people don't take the risks. They don't do that in their regular life. And not everyone should. I mean, the other people already have found a healthy life partner. They're not going out and just massively meeting people with a cold approach. And the same thing goes for business. They already have a great job. They're not trying to become an entrepreneur. But I think everyone should learn how to have the creative aspect, the lack of fear, the value-giving mindset, and the entrepreneurial spirit. The entrepreneurial spirit being defined as a combination of what you were defining spirituality as. I mean, you were defining spirituality earlier to me as you just don't want to be a selfish piece of shit. And if you're not a selfish piece of shit, you're spiritual. And I could really jive with that. Because for me, if you want to have that entrepreneurial spirit, I'm defining that as you're not a selfish piece of shit, and you're also being very creative about what you're trying to do, innovative about what you're trying to do in order to move things forward and creating value for the world. And that's what I consider the entrepreneurial spirit is. The entrepreneurial spirituality is what we're talking about here. So, I mean, that's a mouthful, but I guess I'd be curious about, what your viewers are interested in, and also what you're interested in talking about.
Yeah, man. Well, I love that. That was such a good wrap, and there's so much good information in there. I think that one of the points that I just wanted to pick up on, the keys to your success and where you are, number one was the mastermind. You had a continuous group of people, always talking about, ideas and possibility, and you're surrounding yourself with people who are wanting to grow and create. And the other important piece that I picked up was you're consistently going into places and around people that are the experts. And that's something that I've done as well. Is if I want to learn martial arts, I want to go around the best martial artists. So I went and trained with professionals in Thailand that were all professional fighters, trained with Shaolin monks. When I wanted to snowboard, I snowboarded Whistler, Canada with some of the best snowboarders on the planet with the best environment, So that's really going to elevate your game and help you to become successful. I think that for me, what I would love to know, and I hope that this would kind of tailor off to the listeners, is like, if you have this idea and what you talked about there before with I don't know what the keys are, the entrepreneur mindset about being, value-based and being able to overcome fear. It's so massive because most people don't try once, right, to create a business or a thing because they are afraid. But it seems like you would just try 100 different thousand things until you get it. Like, you are fearless in that sense. And I think that's super, super important. It's the same thing with, meeting business relationships. You're too afraid to ask for someone's card. And the same thing with the dating world. You're too afraid to ask for that person's number when it could have been your wife or husband. So fear is blocking us all the time, and especially within business. So I guess for the time we have, I think we got maybe 20 minutes left, and you are a massive wealth of knowledge. What do you feel are key fundamentals for somebody overcoming fear and then becoming successful in business, of all the people that you've been around and everything that you've learned in big business and small business and watching people grow from nothing and all your stuff? Like, what are the key fundamentals to becoming successful in business?
Well, let's start with a question that my buddy Adam Farfan asked Tony Hsieh at a mastermind I did. And he said, what was the first step that you took in order to becoming a billionaire, or the most important thing that you needed to know in order to become a billionaire? And he said, well, I had to decide in my mind that I wanted to become a billionaire. And now that's a very general statement. I mean, that can be interpreted in a million different ways. Now, how I look at that is that you need to have that as your goal so much, so deeply ingrained that you're willing to sacrifice so much for it. Now, if you're going to be, say, an entrepreneur, if you want to be really risk adverse and become an entrepreneur, I think everyone should be entrepreneurial, but not necessarily an entrepreneur. Because an entrepreneur, if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, has to be someone who's had a lot of risk. Now, yourself, you were talking to me earlier about how no matter what you're doing, you're willing to sell your car or sell anything in order to make it so that you're able to have the freedom to move forward with those things that are really important for you in your job. For me, I've gone all in, like that's a poker term for putting all your chips out and willing to risk everything and lose it all so often. And I'm always willing to do that because there is nothing that would allow me to not win for my company. I want to make sure that my company is able to grow and survive no matter what, and there's nothing I wouldn't do. And there's so many people that will do that for those goals that are most important to them. Now, that's the goal. That's one of the goals that's most important to me. I mean, other than that, there's also my family, which is probably the most important thing to almost anyone. But at the same time, that is the kind of mindset I have to have. So, I mean, a lot of my mindsets are kind of extreme. I'll talk to you about them, frankly. But I mean, not everything's going to jive with everyone. So, I mean, a lot of my belief systems were actually because I was influenced very much by movies and TV shows and what have you. And so when I see people that were in the movies, a lot of my movies I was watching was about, say high level presidents or business owners, or even mafia lords for action movies, or say the action figure who's taking risks and leading. And some of the values around that have been most influential. Well, I mean, the weird ones around that have been very influential to me would surround things like The Godfather, for example. I love the concept that family is the most important thing to you, and that mindset of having everyone treated like family to build a bonds in your business has been a mindset where you have loyalty and trust as the most important values. Now, I didn't really have that growing up. Most of my mindset growing up was just work really hard, be the typical academic. And so much of what I've learned from the field. I learned a ton of academics. That's why I'm still full supporter of formal education. But that's one of the things out there. The other thing that I've noticed is that there's always like the hero's journey. The hero is somebody who doesn't necessarily have all the skills, but he learns them, and he's able to face that adversity that he was unable to successfully conquer. And you'll see that continually again and again, everything from Star Wars and any other action movie. And in business and in real life, it's the same thing that has to happen. You have to learn the process, learn the skills, and face that adversity, conquer it, and be willing to go through a crazy amount of adventure and a roller coaster of emotions. The other thing I notice is a lot of time you'll see guys like, say, 24, like Jack Bauer. He's my favorite TV show character. I named my cat after him, Jack Meower. And basically, we look at him, he's doing every single hour with the craziest emotional roller coaster, and you got to be willing to just control your emotions and lose it. My business partner, he said there's nothing that will allow him to be stressed out, and that's our company just wasn't making money. That means that the value he was offering just wasn't converting into sales. That's not happening. So he's never out of control in terms of his emotional state. I haven't gotten to that zenness, like maybe you have because you're the Zen athlete. I haven't got to that complete zenness, but I know from just studying those people I admire a lot, like the author Stephen Covey, who wrote 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Being centered on your principles and being centered around that, as opposed to being money-centered or work-centered or just sex-centered or what have you, gives you a holistic feeling around you. So you have that life goal and you have that presence, and people will interact with you. They'll feel that from you. And when people interact with you, they'll kind of get to know your core if you speak to them like you really just are relating to them. So, I mean, if you look at like movies, you never see people talking to people like you see on, say, the mainstream media news. It's like these fictitious things where people are forced to talk to each other because it used to be the only way to communicate your message out there. Nowadays, when you have that authentic voice, like you see in social media, and you see also through people just communicating in person on a regular basis, like with your buddies, your close friends, your drinking buddies. That's how people need to communicate in business. That's how people need to communicate with the world. And that trend is like a huge trend taking place. I look at the internet, and it allows people like me to become millionaires from scratch, from the ground up, without taking any of my parents' money as investment. Having a strong support system is great because I knew I had a safety net. I have a really successful family. I have a great background, but I was never reliant upon that. I was always willing to take the risks myself. I know a lot of people who don't have that safety net, and for those people, it's very risky. It's very dangerous because you're living on the edge. But at the same time, I could relate to that because I understand what it is to want to actually do it yourself and accomplish it for yourself, the feelings of that, because there's no better joy than pushing for something really strong, fighting and giving it your all and winning. That's why so many people love the underdog in sports. That's the same way that goes into your business world. And also it requires you to do that if you're going to be the leader of a team. So in a business, it's not just you. If it's just you, you're not an entrepreneur yet. You're basically entrepreneur-ish. You're basically a self-employed guy who has an entrepreneur mindset. And that's cool. I think everyone could do that because instead of working for a company, you just have all these people who are contractors. That's great. But if you want to have like an enterprise, a company, you got to learn how to build teams and learn the different kinds of leadership, from being the guy who's controlling the whole process like a commander, a guy who's just like, do this, to being a delegator, who's basically trying to get the stuff off his task, master certain process, or being a role model, a guy who's doing it, leading by example and showing exactly how it's supposed to be done. And it depends on how much time you have, because the role model way is the way I think that a lot of people would prefer. That's definitely what I prefer. It's just that there's only so many people you could train directly. Now with the power of YouTube and social media and video, we could always train a lot more people. That's why I like it. I don't like the idea of just meeting up with my friends and just like kind of like hoarding the information. I might even forget it, but I could get that out there to tons of people. that's a lot of value you could offer to people. And it also helps me because then I'm more in tuned, more aware of what other people are interested in, what's trending, what's going on, and how I could build my company. And I think that's helped me a lot. It's also been really fun. Now, I was on my board of directors meeting like last week, and they're saying, the least CEO thing that you're doing right now is probably making these videos and managing the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And, in the typical CEO sense, where the CEO is managing the teams and operations and what have you, that's probably true. It's more of like a chairman thing, like a visionary thing. A chairman is the guy who's in top of your board. He's the guy who has the vision 5 to 10 years in the future. He's like the guy who's big picture. And he also is somebody who's probably very involved with like the tactics and operations as well. But I mean, so much of sharing information out there, being a content creator, is not actually the CEO job. It's more just getting an idea of what you're doing out there. But at the same time, one of the jobs as CEO is to learn and better the company, and the continual education process and belief systems of that, how to improve my company. I'm learning a lot of that from meeting with a lot of other people. I spend a lot of my days just waking up around 8 in the morning, having breakfast, meeting with my team, and then teaching them, coaching them on sales, or teaching my company in terms of like how to get more people into a funnel, or just studying the financials of my company. And I'll have meetings throughout my day. I'll talk to people in the finance or tech team, or I'll cancel meetings and do an interview. And then I'll have maybe a dinner meeting with my attorney, and then go to events where I network and mastermind with people. And maybe I'll support a charitable cause. Like this weekend, I'm going to meet with my attorneys, followed by a wine festival, followed by going to a philanthropy that supports helping small animals. And my vet organized it. But I think you just got to follow those things that you think you contribute value and leverage your time the most. So when I look at my time as a businessman, and I try to delegate or dedicate certain amounts of time to just working in operations and tinkering with the system, I think about how it would be so much cooler if I could break that down to use redoable tasks by almost anyone who is educated and has like some smarts to them, and basically just delegate a certain task, like the relationship building between our customers, for example, or working on meetings with people that need to have training in terms of marketing. And then I'll try to delegate those tasks to them and try to focus my tasks in times where I could leverage my time the most. So I know that I was talking to Tony, and I was saying, how do you spend your day? And he just said, I look at the tasks every day. It's always different, and try to find those ways I could leverage my time the most. And so I'm trying to focus on how I can do that as well. And a lot of it will require you to be in your business, as opposed to just working on your business and the higher picture stuff. Because only by being in the business and doing it yourself will you know whether something is being done successfully. That's why every single job in my company I've done myself. Every single role and responsibility I've had myself for at least some time. I may not be doing it as good as some of the people now, but I've trained people that outpace me in terms of their training and skill sets. But by understanding what they can or cannot accomplish, it helps a lot. Sometimes I'll get frustrated. I don't really know exactly what's going on, in which case I need to focus more on asking questions, seeking first to understand before being understood. And so much of business is about that, and so many people forget that. So it's been a huge focus of mine to try to focus on that internally, because sometimes I'll make mistakes and I'll apologize for just rushing into things. So I'm always focused on trying to figure out how I could not go down that route. I know that for you, for example, I'm looking at your business. You have a successful podcast. You have a coaching business that you just started. And right now you're looking at ways to grow your company, for example. I know a lot of other people who are listening to this are most likely interested in education of some kind, because pretty much everyone I talk to has an opinion on something. Someday I think they're really good. They want to share. So, I mean, in terms of coaching business, everyone kind of wants to coach, even their friends. So, I mean, a lot of the ways to get into that and kind of know what to create next, what products to create, what programs to create, how to advise people and what have you, has always been from the ground up, from the very beginning, since we're talking about the startup process of a series of steps. And I know my old mentor, a guy named Corey Rudel, he wrote a book called Insider Secrets Marketing Bible. And it was like this awesome program that isn't sold anymore because he died in a car accident. But it was a program that said that the first thing you got to do is really find out what people really, really want, and then give that to them. And you could do that through what we would say is a typical situation. In the past, people used to do it through telephone polls. Nowadays, you have discussion boards. You have internet groups. You have this Reddit where you can see all the typical questions that people are asking for and find out those needs that you're passionate about fulfilling that's not being fulfilled and fulfilling it, and find those people that could be a part of your team that are already doing that, get them to volunteer their time and help you build their company. Now, my time is mostly spent on developing my own company as opposed to other people's companies. I need to still automate a lot of systems before I can focus on developing my business line. I'm focusing a lot more of that in the next few months, because over the next few months, I'm building a mass amount of teams. I'm getting some houses out here and I'm filling them with people. In the past, I used to have people, just intern, and they would basically live on their savings. They weren't just spoiled rich kids that had time. They were living off their credit cards. And I could relate to that also, because our company, a lot of it was built on credit card debt. I made a video that was recorded at the World Speakers Summit where I did a keynote presentation about how entrepreneurship, so much of it requires that grassroots effort. And at the time, in 2008, I was simultaneously living in the back seat of a 1997 Toyota Avalon, and also on the Inc. list for the Inc. magazine. And for California, I was in the Inc. 100 California fastest growing companies based in California. And it was kind of ironic. And I was still paying for parking, because in order to park somewhere, I couldn't even park at a church without waking up and having somebody invite me in for coffee to share with me lessons from the Bible. And although you can say I'm spiritual, I'm not very religious, maybe for my own movement. But in terms of parking, I was paying for parking at a parking lot so that I wouldn't get towed. I was paying like $14 a day at the Sheraton LAX and sneaking into the 4-point Sheraton Wi-Fi and using their gym. And now that's also a place that I've stayed a lot since then, but I couldn't afford hotel rooms. I couldn't afford anything. I was just hustling, just trying to build content. But that's the kind of mindset I had to have in order to push my business and grow. So many people will be like, well, I don't even want to experience that or risk that. And you don't have to. You could work for other people's startups, or other people's movements, and other people's businesses that you believe in, and be a part of their team and their vision and their mission. The reason why the people who are the business owners want to be business owners as opposed to work for someone else is because they will oftentimes get more control. But the thing is, if the vision and mission is something that you want to be a part of, you can be part of the team without having to take the risks of losing it all, like I've taken, like you've taken in your own business. But the challenge is finding those things that you believe in, that you want to learn from. So, I did that originally through investing my time in volunteering for politics, then in business. And now I use those skills and lessons I learned to build my own company. This is a process that I've done ever since my first job, which was at 12, where I was passing out flyers for a local nightclub, and then using that as an opportunity to give value enough so I could hang out backstage with Bush and Korn, the Deftones, and famous rock and roll bands that are also performing at that nightclub, and learning about the party world of college life at California State University in Sacramento, and doing that while I was 12 years old, and leveraging those skills to become a more social person. And I think that my obsession has also always been with social graces and understanding social dynamics. And that's why we created this company, Real Social Dynamics, not because we were interested just in dating advice. We created this company because it was huge. I grew up a person that was kind of scared of approaching beautiful women, didn't really know how to build a lot of friends. I could host parties. I was a good organizer, but people were interested in going to my parties as opposed to just hanging out with me for me. And developing the ability to convey who you are, your passions, and find a kind of way to align your vision, your mission, and also have the values of people that have that positive outlook, that they're not spiritual, they're not selfish piece of shit. They're finding a way to find those people and bring them into your life. I think that was a skill set I just didn't develop. So I got into this, studying this, because I wanted to get originally a girlfriend, and it turned into building a business. I wanted to get a really high quality girlfriend, turn into me building this business, because I ended up having all these people whose livelihoods ended up relying on me. And they were doing the really important things I didn't want to stop. And just kept growing, and it's still growing now. And I'm still in the exact same position in terms of the business, trying to make sure that this business sticks around, grows, and can still accomplish my business partner's goals. His goal is to try to build a company whose influence could affect the lives and change them for the better as much as possible. Whereas my goal is to try to build a company, a global company that has enough power and control to actualize his goals and his business of sharing that influence. So that kind of coincides. A lot of it, though, is trying to find those ways where your vision, how you can help somebody, aligns, and kind of know what that is. A lot of people will always ask, how can I help you? But a lot of people don't realize they always have ways that they can help other people that they just don't know. So they don't ask. They don't even try. I mean, most people, some of the most powerful people on the planet, but most of the powerful people on the planet that I know, and I know a lot of them, I have a massive Rolodex, probably the biggest Rolodex out of most of the people you've met in your life, if not all of them. And my network is so big because I focus primarily on not trying to get things from other people. I think that the most powerful people on the planet I know is not just surrounding themselves with just powerful people. It's just average people that are trustworthy, loyal people they like spending their time with. The cliche saying of you're the average of the 5 people you hang around most was based upon an exaggerated statement that if you hang around people that have an elevated status and elevated potential to help you in the world, you'll learn things from them. That's true. But on an individual level, a lot of that comes from your individual hustle, because most of the people you'll surround yourself with in life are just your family, regardless of their income, their business skills, or knowledge or potential. Those are the people you're going to be hanging around with, and the people you want to hang around with the most. It doesn't necessarily mean that's how much money you're going to make or how your career is going to be affected. So, I mean, so much of what you do is just surrounding yourself with people that are just good people. If you look at guys like Harvey Mackay, and I said this so many times I've lost count, but he has the idea that every single person on the planet knows about 200 people, and each of those 200 people know 200 people. 200 people that could basically explain your entire autobiography, or could basically give a eulogy at your funeral. And the thing is, you look at social media, now you have many more connections. Most people will see that on a much larger scale where they could tell your story, but you can't do the same back for them. That's the difference between the old school networking versus the new school, where basically you could now follow people and get to know them really well if you choose to, just by going onto their social media and seeing what's going on in their life and know them almost instantaneously. It's like everyone has access to the same wealth of knowledge that the CIA used to have like 50 years ago. It's kind of crazy, but knowing that, it's kind of cool because it allows us to all stay interconnected, all create growth and value for each other. And instead of people saying, hey, I'd love to figure out how I could add value, just let me know. You can now just go on social media and you can look at what people are interested in and help them. So my buddy Larry Benet, he's one of the most powerful connectors in the world. He was listed, I think, in Forbes magazine as the connector, the #1 most connected connector. And he's not like the president of a country. He's just a guy. If he wants to reach somebody like, say, Richard Branson, he'll see that he's involved with a charity. He'll talk about how he met somebody else who might be able to help him. He'd like to do an introduction and connect them and connect these people together. And it's like how Malcolm Gladwell says there's different kinds of people. One of them is a connector. And a connector is somebody who builds value through connecting other people with each other. That's a huge thing that I like to do. Other ways I like to connect value is just being a guy who is a good, loyal friend to people. So when they ask for something, I honestly just try to genuinely help them. And that's something that anyone could do. It doesn't matter how powerful or how rich you are, but most people just forget that everyone could do this. They just need to be more spiritual. I think that the other way people also forget they can contribute value is in their time. Because anyone who's willing to volunteer for me, I want you to email me. Email me at papa@realsocialdynamics.com is my email address, or nick@co.biz. And if they do that, I'd love to have you apply. If you want to volunteer, learn from me, I would love to have you here in Vegas and just learn from me. And that's skills that can help you in any aspect of your life. You can do this for almost anyone. I bet if you contacted, the office of a governor or of your state, or the local senators, or the local businesses that you want to spend time to, no matter who you are, I bet that they'll be willing to do an interview with you. And if you have some skills that they need, I bet they'd be willing to hire you. Almost anyone will do that. So, I mean, when I look at like my company, other than just the HR, because building my company through, building value for other people, training them, giving them college credit, or helping them in some way, in exchange to help me build my company. That's one way of doing it. Other way is building a massive network of connectors and mentors that could educate me so I myself could do it myself. Third is knowing the leadership styles, communication, how to lead people, communication methods of what works and what doesn't work for me. The next is knowing what my skill sets are that I'm good at, because I'll try to know everything, a little bit of everything, but I need to be a master of a few things, knowing what I am really masterful at, and then just excelling at that and putting my time into those things. I think those are the things that I think that would really help entrepreneurs, regardless of who's listening, or even if you're not an entrepreneur. I think this would help pretty much anyone, even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur and you just want to be more entrepreneurial in spirit.
Brother, dude, that was so amazing, man. Like, I just sat back and just watched that and was so okay with listening. And it's amazing because, you have so much knowledge, and you're just trying to bring forth as much as you can in this short time, and there was so much amazing information there because you have so many experiences that you could go into depth about, 10 lessons about how you had to go all in, or 10 lessons about, whatever mindset that you're trying to share with everyone on, and how it is that you can become successful and what needs to happen. So it was really amazing for me just to listen to all that. And I'm sure everybody listening to this is going to get a ton of value, because that's it, man. You really hit on a lot of important factors around what it is to be successful, the mindset that you need. And it really is everything. And speaking from experience and being around people who, everyone's doing the same thing, right? There's these core fundamentals, surround yourself with amazing people. It's going to take time and effort and energy, delegate where you can. But really it comes down to fundamentally believing in yourself, and having to go all in. And
that's exactly what I wanted to hear. I mean, I'm doing this interview because I think the idea is, even that you brought up now, like the 10 lessons to go all in. I think that would be a great topic for a video. And I think that just people posting comments on my videos and just sharing with me what they want me to talk about, it just helps me clarify and organize my thoughts so much more. Because yeah, I mean, I've studied a lot of stuff, but those things that are most valuable to other people that are watching this channel, I think represents oftentimes the general public. And it really helps me to tap into that. So thank you as well for this. This has been really cool.
Yeah, man. Well, that was, I think, 45 minutes. I know that you got to go. You're a busy man up to amazing things. I'm going to have to get you on for another hour of just download, just like grab your pen and paper, listen and take notes, because this is it, man. This is from somebody who's done it and is living it. So brother, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for just downloading all of that awesome info, man, and sharing your experience and giving it out there. Where do you want people to find you and connect with all the stuff that you've got going on? So I know you have a lot going on. So where's the best way to connect to you?
Visit my YouTube channel, youtube.com/NickCo official. And Nickco, NickKhoFFICIAL. And you'll see awesome videos with my mastermind group, and also a chance to get directly ask questions for me. And I think that's awesome. I just would love to have you be a part of that. I'd love to have people subscribe to my channel from your podcast. And yeah, I'll give you a shout out to my channel for you, because it's been a lot of fun. This has been really awesome. And I think that, just from the conversations we've had earlier today, I think my subscribers would love to check that stuff out, all the stuff you're talking about in terms of building that higher level business, that higher purpose in your business, and taking things to the next level and crushing it. It's awesome concept.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, I feel you. I appreciate it, man. Well, thanks so much for coming on. Do you have any closing thoughts, words of wisdom, key to success? Or you downloaded a lot, so thank you. But did you want to, close out with anything before we sign off?
Sure. The concept that is super popular in my world, in my culture, in terms of my client base and customers, has always been that field experience is king. No matter what you do, you'll learn from those reference experiences by taking those risks and exploring new adventures and new things and going deeper, taking risks. Every time there's a moment where I feel that moment of fear, we were talking earlier about fear technology and ways to overcome fear. Whenever I feel that question in my head, that emotional trigger of, I don't know if I should be doing this, not in a way where it's like, this could be bad, it could hurt somebody, but I don't know what the result's going to be. The curiosity of the unknown. I don't know what's going to happen, if it's going to go good or bad. push that envelope and go past it. And that's how you'll expand your horizons. And that's how you'll take your game in life to the next level.
Love it, man. Amazing close. I totally agree, my friend. Well, that's it for today. I hope to have you back soon. We'll definitely stay connected, but thanks to everybody out there watching. We'll see you in the next episode.
Awesome. Cheers.
Peace, brother.